The Shadow of Betrayal. The Infiltration commander Carlos had spent years fighting the global union, but he had never seen anything like this. The architect had tightened his grip on every sector of the world, using his intelligence networks, AI enforcement, and digital surveillance to root out every last dissenter. Yet despite the odds, Carlos and his team had survived. This time, though, it wasn't an attack from the outside, it was betrayal from within. Raven's latest intel revealed that someone inside their ranks was feeding information to the global union. The rebels had been hit too precisely, too often. Supplies were raided, safe houses burned, and operatives taken before they even made their first move. It wasn't just a leak. Someone had infiltrated them. The message came in through their encrypted channel. "Tonight at the docks, you'll find what you're looking for." Carlos didn't believe in coincidences, but he needed to act fast if there was a traitor among them. The traitor's Mark Bowman was already at the docks when Carlos arrived. The moonlight barely illuminated the rotting wood, and the cold air carried the stench of fish and diesel. It was too quiet. "Raven's inside. She's tracking movement," Bowman whispered, gripping his rifle. "Intel says they're moving prisoners out tonight. Could be our people." Carlos gave a short nod. He could hear Raven's voice in his earpiece. "4 targets, guards, armed. Someone's waiting for them." Carlos peered through the scope. A black van pulled up. The side door slid open, revealing a man in a military uniform, his face shadowed. But Carlos knew that voice when he spoke. "Move them. We don't have all night." His blood ran cold. It was Victor Donsharp, a ghost from the past. Victor had been a brother, once. They had fought together, bled together, and watched their comrades die together. But when the war shifted, so did Victor. Now, he was working for the architect. Carlos signaled Bowman and Raven. This wasn't a simple extraction anymore. The guards started moving prisoners into the van. Carlos's jaw clenched. He knew some of those faces. Fighters from the last skirmish. Captured and ready for transport. Carlos whispered into his comm. "We take them now. No one gets away." The moment his words left his lips, gunfire erupted. The fight for freedom. Raven's shot was first clean and precise, one guard down before he even turned. Bowman was already moving, his rifle kicking as he laid down suppressive fire. Carlos sprinted forward, weaving between crates as the dock became a war zone. Victor was in the van, barking orders, but he wasn't running. He wanted this fight. Carlos fired, shattering the van's windshield. Victor ducked and returned fire, his enhanced reflexes making him a deadly opponent. The van screeched as it tried to pull away. Carlos wasn't letting that happen. With a single leap, he grabbed onto the side of the van and pulled himself up. The vehicle swerved wildly, nearly sending him flying, but Carlos held on. Inside, Victor grinned, his eyes cold. "You should have joined us, Carlos." Carlos didn't waste words. He slammed his fist into Victor's face, knocking him back. But Victor wasn't done. The van crashed through the dock's barricade, heading straight for the water, a choice of loyalty. Carlos barely had time to react. He and Victor were locked in a brutal fight, each strike shaking the van as it hurtled toward the edge. Victor grabbed a knife, slashing at Carlos. The blade cut deep into his arm, but Carlos didn't falter. With one last push, Carlos grabbed Victor by his collar. "Who's the mole, Victor?" Carlos growled. Victor smirked, blood dripping from his lip. "Someone you trust." Then he kicked Carlos back, just as the van crashed into the water. Carlos barely managed to leap free, hitting the cold waves as the van sank into the abyss. Victor was gone, but his words lingered. Someone inside their ranks was feeding information to the enemy. Someone close. The war wasn't just out there. It was inside their own walls. To be continued.